She was a devout Christian, and she instilled her faith in her children. Charles's father, Archibald Percival Salvador, was a carpenter, and he was a strict disciplinarian. He believed that hard work and discipline were essential to success. Charles attended St. Paul's School, a local elementary school in Whitechapel. But Charles was a resilient child, and he refused to let it get to him. It was at this point that Charles began to rebel against his mother's rules and regulations. He started skipping school and hanging out with a bad crowd. One of his friends was a Jewish gangster named Louis, who introduced him to the world of crime. Under Louis's mentorship, Charles learned the skills of the trade, including how to pickpocket, con people, and fight. He was a quick learner, and soon he was making enough money to support himself. By the time he was 18, Charles was a seasoned criminal, and he was known for his daring robberies and clever cons. He was also known for his charm and charisma, which he used to his advantage. During this time, he met a woman named Annie Line, and they soon fell in love. They married and had 2 children together, a son and a daughter. Despite his criminal lifestyle, Charles was a devout Christian like his mother. He attended church regularly, and he was active in the church choir. He was also known for his generosity, and he often gave money to the poor and needy. Charles saw this as an opportunity to make a fortune, and he turned to high-profile robberies. Their daring robberies made headlines in the newspapers, and the public was on the edge of their seats waiting for the next big score. As Charles's criminal empire grew, so did his wealth and power. He lived a life of luxury, driving expensive cars, wearing fine clothes, and frequenting the finest nightclubs. He was also known for his generosity, often giving money to the poor and needy, as well as throwing lavish parties for his friends and associates. However, despite his success, Charles was still haunted by his past. He knew that his criminal activities would eventually catch up with him, and he was constantly on the run from the police. He even had to go into hiding at one point, when the police were closing in on him. In 1947, Charles's luck finally ran out. He was arrested for armed robbery and sentenced to 7 years in prison. He was able to appeal the sentence and reduce it to 4 years, but it was still the longest prison sentence he had ever received. While in prison, Charles continued to live a life of luxury. He had a private cell with a television and a refrigerator, and he was allowed to have visitors every day. He also continued to run his criminal empire from prison, using a network of accomplices to carry out his will. He was known for his generosity, often giving money to the poor and needy, as well as throwing lavish parties for his friends and associates. Charles was involved in a fatal shooting in 1956. He was acquitted of murder charges. But the incident made headlines in the newspapers. However, in 1967, Charles was arrested for armed robbery and sentenced to 10 years in prison. This was the longest prison sentence he had ever received. While in prison, Charles's health began to decline. He was released from prison in 1977, but his health was never the same. He died of a heart attack in 1978 at the age of 62. Charles was also known for his expensive taste in clothing and his love of fine food and drink. Despite his larger-than-life persona, Charles was a humble man who never forgot his roots. That's why he was so generous with his money, often giving to those less fortunate than himself. He was also very religious, and he was known for his strong faith in God. So who was Mr. Nice? Was he a ruthless criminal or a generous philanthropist? The answer is both. He was a criminal who lived a life of luxury, but he was also a devout Christian who gave generously to the poor and needy. He was a man of many contradictions, who will continue to fascinate and intrigue people for generations to come. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe and give us a thumbs up. We've got lots of fascinating stories about secret gangsters for you.